face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello and greetings. I am Samia Mohammed and you are tuned into Pulse of Africa News. Join us for comprehensive coverage of the events impacting our region and beyond. Ethiopia is showcasing its remarkable transformation in wheat production as a powerful blueprint for other African nations striving for food self-sufficiency. This message was central to the unveiling of a new documentary by the Ethiopian Agricultural Transformation Institute, which highlights the nation's journey of resilience and innovation in achieving its agricultural goals. The documentary, presented at the conclusion of a 3-day national workshop in Addis Ababa, portrays Ethiopia's successful push to replace wheat imports with large-scale domestic production. According to Dr. Ngusi Mandefro, CEO of the ATI, the film aims to leave a lasting legacy and inspire the younger generation. He stated that Ethiopia's efforts in transforming wheat production are seen as a model for achieving food self-sufficiency across Africa.
We declared at the end of 2023 that Ethiopia is wheat self-sufficient. And we are grateful to those who financed the agricultural commercialization, the design of the wheat, and the flagship program development. Data and evidences can attract youngsters to follow the route that we went through and to build on what we did.
The forum brought together government bodies, academic institutions, and youth organizations to advance agricultural progress through scientific knowledge and community environment. International partners have praised the country's progress. Abba Chekul, Deputy Director of Program Advocacy and Communications at the Gates Foundation, commended Ethiopia's bold steps in shaping its agricultural future. He noted that the wheat transformation not only fosters resilience but also promotes new approaches for border economic development. This push for self-sufficiency is also being driven by scientific advancement.
As we gather to premiere a film that tells a remarkable story. A story not just about wheat or even agriculture, but about a nation choosing to shape its own development path. Millions of Ethiopian farmers waking up every day with dignity and purpose, working to improve their livelihoods and contribute to their country's progress. The wheat story captured in this film is one chapter of that broader effort. So, through expanded irrigation, improved seed technologies, modern agronomic practices, and coordinated leadership, Ethiopia has made notable strides in increasing wheat production and strengthening its agricultural systems.
At the first level, the country's representative of the CIMMYT Ethiopia confirmed that the work is underway to develop improved wheat varieties, underscoring that robust wheat production is crucial for the nation's industrialization efforts.
The wheat production landscape in Ethiopia is markedly changed. Area of wheat cultivation, productivity, and production changed notably. The mid and highland-dominated rainfed-based wheat production expanded to the irrigated lowlands and intensified with modern inputs and technology uses. Being a key raw materials for the growing agro-processing sector, for the mills, bakeries, and pasta factories, wheat continue to play a vital role in Ethiopia industrialization.
Through strategic collaboration and innovation, Ethiopia's success in the wheat sector is being positioned not just as a national achievement, but as an inspirational and replicable model for the entire continent. Tomer Barlavi, the Deputy Ambassador of Israel to Ethiopia in the African Union, has expressed his profound admiration for Ethiopia's remarkable advancement in wheat production. In an interview with the Pulse of Africa today, the diplomat lauded the nation's journey to becoming a leading wheat producer in Africa, emphasizing the transformative power of agricultural technology in ensuring food security and alleviating poverty across the continent. Barlavi made the remarks after attending an event in Addis Ababa that screened a film highlighting Ethiopia's remarkable progress in wheat cultivation produced by Ethiopian filmmakers based in Los Angeles and attended by diplomats and other dignitaries.
We've been following this journey for the last few years, how Ethiopia has turned into the leading wheat producer in Africa and really is completely transforming its production of this crop, which is the key staple for much of the world. So it's a very incredible journey. I think the government has invested a lot into it, and we're happy to see the progress.
Launched officially in 2019 at the initiative of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, Ethiopia's drive towards self-sufficiency in wheat production has reached notable success, opening a new chapter for the country. Through his effort, Ethiopia has made a historic shift by producing wheat domestically using irrigation, replacing imports that previously cost up to $1 billion annually. By showcasing the wheat production achievement in the Oromia, Afar and Amhara regions, the film represents Ethiopia's growing capacity for self-reliance and helps project a positive national image to the international community. Recent reports have highlighted Ethiopia's agricultural ambitions, with the government making a major push for wheat self-sufficiency. This initiative has reportedly seen the country not only meet its domestic need, but also begin exporting surplus grain, a significant turnaround for a nation that previously relied on imports. The Deputy Ambassador underscored the immense potential for Ethiopian smallholder farmers to exponentially increase their yields and economic well-being through the adoption of modern agricultural technologies.
Ethiopia is blessed with huge amounts of natural resources. You know, the land is very productive. Of course, there's also some dry regions, but in the end, it's a very, very large amount of resources. It's also blessed with large human resources because, you know, huge population, tens of thousands of smallholder farmers who are working every day just to grow their crops, and I think, again, if we implement technologies into giving that extra push to these natural resources which are existing, you can make a lot out of it, and it can make a huge impact on families, on whole regions, and on the country as a whole.
He pointed to Israel's own experience and the availability of advanced farming techniques as a blueprint for progress. If they just make small adjustments to the technologies that they're using, whether it's the seed qualities, whether it's irrigation technologies, and even growing techniques, then their productivity and yields will go up exponentially, Barlavi explained. Barlavi emphasized that the combination of Ethiopia's vast natural resources, including productive land and a large workforce, with Israeli technological innovation can unlock unprecedented growth. Ethiopia is blessed with huge amount of natural resources, he noted, adding that the strategic implementation of technology is the key to maximizing this potential. Looking beyond Ethiopia, the Deputy Ambassador positioned the country's success as a model for the entire African continent in its quest to overcome hunger and build prosperous nations. He asserted that the current moment represents a critical opportunity for Africa to leverage its resource and manpower. With the resources that exist in this country and on this continent, and with the manpower and the skill that exists, the two aspects together have the potential to really raise people out of poverty by implementing more modern technologies into traditional styles of agriculture, Barlavi concluded. He stressed that even slight modification can have a big impact, empowering communities and fostering sustainable development. A senior Sudanese diplomat has commended Ethiopia's remarkable progress in food production, describing it as a powerful demonstration of strong political will and the unwavering commitment of Ethiopian farmers. Speaking to Pulse of Africa following the premiere of the documentary showcasing Ethiopia's success in wheat production, diplomat Hafiz Issa Abdullah, deputy head of mission at the Embassy of Sudan to Ethiopia, the African Union and the UN Economic Commission for Africa, underscored that food sovereignty is a cornerstone of national strength. Diplomat Hafiz Issa Abdullah, the film shown this morning, clearly reflects the strong political will of the Ethiopian government, Abdullah said. But this success is not only about the government, it's also about the people, especially the farmers, who have done tremendous work, he indicated. He stressed that economy power, particularly in agriculture, is crucial as military capability or political stability. Producing your own food is for your own people is essential, he noted. It helps safeguard national independence and closes the door to external interference. Abdullah underscored that modernizing agricultural practices is no longer optional for Africa, citing climate change, erratic rainfall, and environmental pressures. He warned that traditional farming methods can no longer meet current challenges. It is vital to transform the mindset of farmers through training and to equip them with modern agricultural technologies, he said, adding that innovation would enhance both quantity and quality of agricultural output. Addressing this border continental issue, the diplomat challenged the persistent global narrative that associates Africa with conflict, famine, and hunger.
When you talk about Africa from out of the continent, people think about crisis, wars, famine, hunger, internal disputes, and migrants. But we have the resources. We only need to manage our resources in a very rational way and to join our efforts and to put our hands together to reshape the image of Africa. It is not difficult, but we need to have a very strong will. If we have the will, we will succeed.
He called on African nations to strengthen cooperation, manage resources wisely, and collectively reshape the continent's image. The task is not impossible, he said. What it requires is a strong will, and if we have that will, success is within reach. Abdullah recommended that African countries need to utilize modern technologies to improve productivity.
If we still depend on the traditional way on agriculture, that means our product will not be that much. And also due to different factors nowadays, the factor of the climate change, and also the factor of the lack of rain, and a lot of other problems. To tackle all these issues and to be able to product, I don't say with less money, but you have to also to rationalize the other resources you have. So to be able to do that, it is very important to take care of improving and developing the way the farmers thinking, to train them, to enable them to deal with the latest technology in agriculture.
Abdullah also highlighted the importance of sustainable resource management, particularly in East Africa, where desertification and climate shocks such as El Niño pose growing risk. He urged countries like Ethiopia to pair increased agricultural production with public awareness on responsible resource use. If resources are misused today, they will be lost tomorrow, he warned. Linking environmental sustainability to migration, he noted that drought, instability, and lack of opportunity force many Africans to leave their homes. Ensuring people can remain in their communities is the responsibility of those who lead and govern our countries, he said, describing it as a shared continental duty. In his concluding remarks, Abdullah issued a strong call for African self-reliance and cautioning against dependence on external actors driven by their own interests. Those who come from outside pursue their own agendas. He said, Africa must clearly define its own interests and work decisively to achieve them. The time to act is now. ADQ and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have announced a 4-year partnership to invest combined $40 million in AI-driven education initiative across sub-Saharan Africa, with ADQ contributing up to $20 million. The partnership aims to tackle persistent education challenges by expanding the ethical use of artificial intelligence through 2 flagship programs. By supporting these tools, ADQ aims to complement its investment in physical and digital assets while strengthening human capital and technological readiness in the region. Africa faces a significant education gap, with 9 out of 10 children unable to read or perform basic maths by age 10. The partnership will focus on early grade literacy and numeracy, providing locally relevant solutions that empower teachers and students and build the capacity for scalable long-term improvements in learning outcomes. The 2 flagship programs are AI for Education, a global initiative launched in 2022 that develops practical AI-enabled learning models and advises governments in the Global South, and the EdTech and AI Fund, a new multi-investor vehicle launching next year to scale proven EdTech and AI solutions nationally across sub-Saharan Africa. The fund will be the first of its kind to support national-level expansion of evidence-based learning interventions. Bill Gates said that the partnership seeks to responsibly harness AI to improve foundational learning and expand opportunities for children across the continent. Kenya's Bamburi Cement has signed $250 million engineering, procurement and construction contract with China's CBMI Construction Limited to build a new clinker grinding plant in Koali country. The signing ceremony in Nairobi was attended by President William Ruto, who described the project as transformative investment critical for Kenya's national development. He highlighted its role in strengthening industrial capacity, supporting strategic infrastructure projects such as the affordable housing program and creating employment opportunities for youth. The plant will incorporate a 6-stage Pranclassier system and integrate environmentally friendly technologies, including the use of alternative fuels such as coconut husks, cashew shells, and municipal solid waste to reduce emissions. Bamburi Cement CEO Mohit Kapoor said the new 1.6 million tons per year clinkerization plant will reduce Kenya's reliance on imported clinker, improve production consistency, and secure domestic supply. Kapoor emphasized that the project combines advanced carbon-neutral technologies to minimize environmental impact while supporting Kenya's infrastructure growth and broader economic transformation. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reinforced Nigeria's leadership role in West Africa by sending a high-level delegation to Burkina Faso, highlighting Abuja's commitment to regional security, dialogue and integration. The delegation, led by Foreign Affairs Minister Ambassador Yusuf Matema Tugar, met with Burkina Faso's leader Captain Ibrahim Traoré in Ouagadougou on Wednesday, delivering a message of solidarity from President Tinubu. Talks focused on strengthening political, security and economic cooperation, particularly coordinated responses to growing Sahel security threats and enhanced collaboration through sub-regional frameworks. During the visit, the delegation successfully resolved the issue involving detained Nigerian Air Force pilots and crew, reinforcing mutual confidence and showcasing Nigeria's preference for diplomacy in handling sensitive cross-border matters. President Traoré welcomed the gesture, describing Nigeria as a key partner in addressing shared security and development challenges. Ambassador Tugar reiterated Nigeria's commitment to good neighborliness, regional stability and collaboration with Burkina Faso and other partners to promote peace, counter insecurity and advance sustainable development across the Sahel. Both countries agreed to maintain regular diplomatic consultations and pursue concrete measures to deepen bilateral cooperation. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Wednesday reaffirmed the Southern African Development Community's commitment to promoting peace, security and political stability across the region. Speaking as the interim SADC chairperson at the virtual extraordinary summit of heads of state and government, Ramaphosa said the bloc continues to implement the SADC protocol on politics, defense and security cooperation. He noted that while progress has been made in advancing regional peace, political and security challenges persist in several member states. Ramaphosa described the security situation in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo as a matter of grave concern and called for sustained regional efforts to restore stability. He also highlighted developments in Madagascar, saying SADC had deployed a regional team to assess the political and security situation, stressing that peace and stability are essential for development. Uganda's export earnings nearly doubled in October compared with the same period last year, driven by a sharp rise in receipts from commodities such as coffee, cocoa and gold, a finance minister report said on Thursday. The East African country merchant goods export earnings rose to $1.5 billion in October, up from $769.6 million recorded in the same month last year, according to the report. The increase was largely supported by a stronger commodity performance, with coffee and cocoa benefiting from improved prices and volumes on the global market. Gold exports provided the biggest boost, with earnings from shipments more than tripling to $964.6 million in October compared with a year earlier, Bank of Uganda data showed. Gold prices have surged this year, supported by safe haven demand and weakness in the US dollar, helping it to lift Uganda's overall export revenues. Cash Plus began trading on the Casablanca Stock Exchange on Monday after completing an initial public offering worth 750 million dirhams, marking one of Morocco's most successful recent listings. The IPO was oversubscribed about 64 times and attracted nearly 81,000 subscribers, underscoring strong investor appetite and growing interest in financial technology companies. Shares trade under the ticker symbol CAF. The listing adds momentum to a busy year of Morocco's equity market. Earlier in 2025, VCN completed an IPO, while construction group SGTM is preparing to list up to 20% of its capital in a deal that could raise about 5.4 billion dirhams. Founded in 2004, Cash Plus has become a major player in Morocco's financial service sector, operating more than 5,000 service points nationwide, many in rural areas. Since obtaining a payment and institution license in 2019, it has expanded into digital payments, money transfers, bill payments, and the distribution of government social assistance. Proceeds from the IPO include 400 million dirhams from a capital increase and will be used to expand Cash Plus network, invest in digital products, and pursue acquisitions reflecting renewed confidence in Morocco's capital market and fintech sector. The Confederation Africa Indy Football has announced a record 20 media rights partnership covering more than 30 European territories for the African Cup of Nations Morocco 2025, significantly expanding the tournament's reach across the continent. The Total Energies CAF AFCON Morocco 2025 will kick off on December 21st, 2025, with the new broadcast deals reflecting the growing global appeal and commercial strength to African football. CAF said the expanding coverage will allow millions of fans across Europe, including African diaspora communities, to watch the tournament live, supporting a strategy to boost the visibility and value of African football worldwide. The partnership built on a landmark agreement with the Channel 4 in the United Kingdom, which will air all 52 matches free to air for the first time, alongside a new deal with Movistar in Spain that is expected to draw strong viewership. CAF has also secured a new free-to-air agreements in Greece with ERT and in Norway with VGTV, while broadcasters such as Sport Italia, Ziggo, and Sport Digital are set to continue coverage in key European markets, further strengthening AFCON's presence across Europe. Now let's proceed to the latest weather forecast to see what conditions are expected across the area. Before concluding, we encourage you to watch Pulse of Africa and Dips after the news, where we delve into India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's official visit to Ethiopia.
El Dorado, a land of wealth, a future of limitless possibilities. This is El Dorado. From natural rich to groundbreaking innovations, discover Africa's untapped potential. El Dorado, unveiling Africa's global potential.
Hello and welcome, viewers. Here we have brought you an episode that's focused on the role of the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, in advancing the agricultural development and food security to end up food insufficiency in Ethiopia and other African countries. In this regard, the FAO's representative in Ethiopia, Ms. Farai Demurzi, will give us the detailed information about it. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome.
Thank you.
What's the main role of FAO in Ethiopia?
FAO is a specialized technical agency of the United Nations, and it was established exactly 8 years ago to support countries, member states of the organization, such as Ethiopia, in terms of advancing the country's agriculture development agenda. So basically, it's about making sure that agriculture meets the needs of the people, as well as making sure that, you know, nutritional levels of people in the countries that are members of FAO are raised and their standards of living accordingly are raised. In Ethiopia, we've been present in Ethiopia for many decades, basically supporting the government of Ethiopia in terms of agricultural development. So currently our program focuses on 4 priority areas. The first one focuses more on the production side of things, so looking at crop production, looking at livestock, looking at forestry, as well as the environment and natural resources. So managing those. So those are the four areas of focus for the organization in Ethiopia currently within our current programming framework. We are focusing on, first of all, ensuring that production and productivity are increased across the various aspects of agriculture that I mentioned earlier. The second priority focus area for the organization is around nutrition. As I mentioned, in our constitution that was established in 1945, raising nutritional levels is one of the key aspirations and or objectives of the organization. So nutrition is a focus area, nutrition, agri-food systems transformation, managing post-harvest losses, etc. That's another area of focus. Third area of focus is on natural resources management. As you know, agriculture is dependent on soils, is dependent on rainfall, water, is dependent on the environment, let's say, and climate. So that is the third pillar of the work that we do in Ethiopia. The last and final pillar focuses on whenever there are shocks to the system, let's say there's a drought, and we know that farmers are really hard hit, farmers and pastoralists are hard hit. So there's a need, one, to anticipate those shocks, so to make sure that as much as possible, based on the information available, we are able to anticipate and make sure we pre-position. There are certain things that can already be done, maybe providing feed for livestock, maybe ensuring that, you know, the health condition of those same livestock is okay for them to be able to withstand the shock coming. And likewise for the crop sector, anticipating but also responding to those shocks so that when they happen, you know, affected people and communities are able to withstand the shock, but also to bounce back, to be able to resume their normal livelihood activities. In addition to that, we also have, you know, some work around social protection and also looking at issues of facilitating investments within the agriculture space, because there's a general recognition that agriculture is not dependent on one player alone. So it's not realistic to expect only the government. Granted, the government is a big player, but there are also other players. The private sector can play an important role in terms of investing in agri-food systems transformation. So it's very important, beyond production, we need to make sure that we have a food systems approach that looks at production, what happens to that, you know, produce. Let's say it's grain that has been produced. By the time it reaches the plate of anybody, a lot of things have happened in between. There has been, you know, managing that harvest so that it is not lost either to spoilage, it is transported, some value addition, some transformation happens. So there's a lot that happens between when food is harvested and when it reaches our plate. And a lot of players are involved. So having that food systems approach, which Ethiopia has been championing for some years now, since the I think starting with the Food Systems Summit that happened some years ago. So this is an agenda that we have also been supporting as part of the fourth pillar of the work that we are doing in Ethiopia. So in short, FAO has been here for many, many years. Ethiopia is one of our earliest members as an organization, and therefore our presence here has been for many years, and we anticipate that we'll continue to work with the government and people of Ethiopia for many years to come.
From your perspective, how would you evaluate the progress of agricultural transformation in Ethiopia?
I've been here for 3 years, and I'm coming to the end of my assignment in Ethiopia, just over 3 years, let me say. And one of the things that I have personally observed in the short period that I've been here is the level of ambition that Ethiopia has in terms of its agri-food systems agenda. Very high levels of ambition, high levels of commitment across the board. In many places, let me say, there's a lot of talk about the importance of the sector. A lot of narratives around, agriculture is the most important sector of the economy, X percentage of people depend upon it. But when you actually see the level of commitment, the level of financial outlay, and general support to the sector, it doesn't always match, that narrative. But what I've observed here in Ethiopia is in my view, there's a close match between the narrative of the importance of the sector as well as the investment and the commitment that you see across the board, whether it's in the regional states, whether it's at federal level. You see a lot of commitment towards the sector, and I have witnessed some of those investments, let's say, that are going on in terms of the wheat program, the Green Legacy Initiative, the Elema Turufat program. These are all highly laudable efforts that the government of Ethiopia is doing, and I think really the sector is transforming in terms of the productivity, in terms of the production. And also looking at the architecture that's been put in place for food systems transformation. There are, I believe, if I'm not wrong, some 15 ministries that are part of the governance structure of food systems transformation, both at federal and sub-national level, which really reflects serious commitment to go beyond production. So yes, there are a lot of investments going into production and productivity, but equally looking at it from a holistic point of view, agri-food systems transformation. Because as I said earlier, it's not enough to produce. The production has to reach the intended beneficiaries, has to reach the intended markets, and a lot of things happen in between those 2 points. And really, excellent effort, in my view, going on in Ethiopia right now.
Ethiopia has recently taken a significant change in alleviating food scarcity and achieving food self-sufficiency. How do you observe this progress?
If we are not ambitious, maybe let me backtrack a bit just to highlight why ambition has to be high. They say if you want to reach for the hills, reach for the mountains. If you want to reach the valleys, reach for the hills. So our ambition has to be high, in other words, for us to be able to reach our targets. And really, I see that ambition being translated into action in Ethiopia. The many programs, as I've mentioned earlier, that really demonstrate the level of ambition and commitment. So I believe the efforts are moving in that direction. A few years ago, we did some calculations just looking at the quantum of grains, cereals that are produced, and looking at the absolute quantities. There were sufficient quantities to reach, to cover every Ethiopian. The challenge, of course, then comes around distribution, making sure the infrastructure is in place, as well as even before distribution, reducing post-harvest losses. A lot of production is lost often when farmers harvest from their fields. Even before that at farm level, before that production reaches their own place, a lot of loss is okay. And some estimates depending on commodity, put that the level of loss at sometimes up to 40%. That is a significant loss. So it's important that we translate production into actual, what lands on people's plates as food, or what lands as what ultimate ends up, if we are talking of export commodities, what ends up being exported. So managing post-harvest losses is something I believe that needs to continue to receive attention, because just by reducing that post-harvest loss alone, we increase the availability of whether it's grain, whether it's any other agricultural commodity that is available. So I believe that there are opportunities to invest more in managing post-harvest losses, opportunities to invest in ensuring that the infrastructure is in place, whether it's roads to reach, to move produce from surplus areas to deficit areas. So the road infrastructure needs to be there. The logistical capabilities need to be in place. So moving, let's say, grain, moving it from production points to where they are needed. Cold storage facilities, I see a lot of investment also happening around that. So more needs to continue to be done to ensure that indeed the production translates into consumption, and it also reaches to points where it's needed. Talking of infrastructure, also storage, simple storage, whether it's silos, whether it's other technologies, very important to ensure that the losses are minimized.
How significant is Ethiopia's wheat production in shaping its agricultural future?
It's extremely significant, and we see a trend of really significant increases in terms of the wheat that is being produced. So again, I think very commendable efforts, excellent in terms of the investments that are going there. And of course, with each production season, there are lessons being learned. So my expectation is that increasingly over the years, we will see even greater production than before, and beyond production, seeing this translating into increased access for all the people that require the commodity, wheat and the related products. So yeah, it's super significant, especially considering that prior to a few years ago, this level of production didn't exist. So it's extremely commendable, in my view, that these investments are being made.
FAO has recognized Ethiopia's effort to combat food scarcity through large-scale wheat production. What's your reflection on this recognition?
All I can say is congratulations to Ethiopia, and also to make a recommendation. Let's keep the foot on the accelerator pedal, so that, as I said, year after year after year, the increases are realized, and indeed the country is able to increase its production for its own use, but also for export to other countries that need the commodities.
What lessons can African countries learn from Ethiopia's experience in wheat production?
I think, in short, if I may use a phrase, it can be done. That would be my what I believe other countries can learn, that it can be done. It is possible to change from being a net importer to achieving self-sufficiency. As long as there is commitment across the board, which I spoke to earlier, as long as there is a high level of ambition and focus in terms of achieving the goal, I think it is possible. It can be done. I have no doubt that this continent can feed itself if we utilize the resources that we have. We have land, In many countries, water is available, not everywhere, of course, but I think, again, if we use the opportunities that we have in terms of, for example, the African Free Continental Trade areas, to trade amongst ourselves even more than we are currently doing, I think it can be done. So I think the lessons for all of us as a continent, they are there, that with sufficient will, and sufficient focus and direction and investment, it is possible to change from being a net importer. I personally don't believe that this continent should continue to beg from any part of the world. If we invest in our agri-food systems, we can feed ourselves, and we are seeing the transformation happening in Ethiopia.
How should international organizations like FAO support African countries in achieving sustainable food security?
I mean, we were set up, and we are committed to supporting countries to achieve their aspirations in the agriculture and agri-food system space. So we are at the disposal of countries. We are ready to provide our technical support, to provide global best practices, and to work in partnership with other players together so that we can help the African continent truly transform its agri-food systems and agricultural sectors so that indeed they are truly, we feed ourselves on the continent, and that is important. We feed ourselves, but we are also able to gain revenues from our agriculture sector through exports and through value addition, because unfortunately we tend to export raw unprocessed products from the sector instead of processing and adding value, and therefore gaining more and creating jobs for our people. So we need to transform the agriculture sector so that for the average farmer, pastoralist, fisher person, they should be able to have a decent living out of their, whether it's their livestock, if they're pastoralists, their crops, if they're farmers, and their fisheries activities, if they're fisher folk. So it's important that a decent level standard of living is achieved by those people that are actually the primary producers. Speak less of those people that then further up the value chain for those products.
Viewers, that's all about the role of FAO's support for agricultural development and food security in Ethiopia and other African countries. Next, we will meet with another topic. Thank you for watching.
El Dorado, a land of wealth, a future of limitless possibilities. This is El Dorado. From natural rich to groundbreaking innovations, discover Africa's untapped potential. El Dorado, unveiling Africa's global potential.